Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sports Vault. Jersey Joe Archino back here. And it's a question that needs to be asked, and especially with Super Bowl 50 right around the corner coming up this Sunday. What is the most memorable Super Bowl of all time? Now, obviously, there are 49 of them to choose from, all of them different in some way, all of them connecting with us differently. I think that's what makes this a difficult question. There's no wrong answer here. We all have our own personal connections to each one of these games. Some of them maybe our teams were playing in. Some of them there could have been a player that we always rooted for in one of them. So we all have different ways that we've connected with these teams, with these games, which makes all these answers differently. I think I look at this from the perspective of which game made me the most excited? Which game was I on the edge of my seat the entire time? Which game can I remember every play of to this day? And which game made the most profound impact on me? And to me, that was Super Bowl 42. I don't think that there's any question in my mind that there has ever been a game that meant more to me than Super Bowl 42 with the New York Giants defeating the perfect New England Patriots. The implications behind that game, the season that the Giants had was filled with its ups and downs. There were points in that season where if you would have asked Giants fans or myself alike, and you would have told them that their team would have a chance to win the Super Bowl, I think most probably would have walked out of the room because there just were so many moments in that season where they did not have the look of a Super Bowl team. But despite that, when the game mattered most, they put together one of the most incredible performances you'll ever see. There had never been a game like that where a team showed that much trouble to Tom Brady. They came into that game with the perfect recipe to beat Tom Brady. That season, him and Randy Moss were breaking records left and right. Their offense could not be stopped. They had the perfect balance of keeping him off the field, constant pressure in his face, guys like Tuck and Strahan and Antonio Pierce just commanding a perfect defensive performance. And it really was one of those games where every single time he had the ball, he had pressure in his face. And I mean, it all kind of looks. Every game that matters has plays but made by people that you wouldn't expect to make the plays. I mean, it happened last year. It happens all the time. And of course, David Tyree with the helmet catch was one of those ones where it was just unforgettable how that happened. I mean, David Tyree, I was at a dinner with David Tyree a couple seasons ago. Half the people couldn't name David Tyree, didn't know David Tyree was on the roster, but he made a catch that will forever live in infamy in Super Bowl history. I mean, ESPN kind of made a list where they ranked all 49 of them so far, and they had this one, Super Bowl 42, ranked as number 5. But I think it has to be ranked higher just because there's never been a game with that many implications. I mean, this was David versus Goliath in every conceivable way. There's never been a game like this before where there was such a heavily mismatched opposition. I mean, the Giants were 10-6 going up against the 18-0 New England Patriots. I mean, and just to think that this kind of game was going to come down the way that it did. I mean, there wasn't anybody who gave the Giants a chance in this game. Nobody did. And I think all of that combined with how close it is, how on the edge of your seat you were the entire time, that's one of those things that just makes it unforgettable. I mean, I could remember every single play of that game. I mean, the Plaxico Burress catch, I mean, it seemed like when he made that final touchdown catch, it kind of felt like it was in slow motion the entire time. I mean, that is one of those games that just, my goodness, it's why you love sports, because it was such a competitive game. It had so many implications behind it. It meant so much to so many people. I mean, I will never forget Super Bowl 42, and to me, it is the most memorable Super Bowl of all time. Now, again, like I said, there is no wrong answer here. Everybody has their own opinion of what their most memorable one is, and it has a personal connection to all of us. I'm always curious what your most memorable Super Bowl is. Probably your team was involved at some point. My teams are kind of irrelevant when it comes to the Super Bowl, so I don't really have any connection with it But I mean, my goodness, when it came to that Super Bowl 42, I think most of us who weren't Patriots fans became Giants fans that day, and it was one of those games that will forever live in infamy for me. I will never forget Super Bowl 42. But what is your most memorable Super Bowl of all time? I am curious. Drop a comment and let me know. I really do want to know because I think we all kind of have five that we all kind of have, maybe different orders. But I think for the most part, we all kind of had five that are very similar. My number one, of course, has to be 42, though. I mean, I always, whenever it's Super Bowl week, and we'll have Super Bowl theme shows every day this week, always kind of go back and watch those highlights because, you're kind of sad because you can't ever see it when it I mean, seeing it live, there's never anything like that. You can never replicate the feeling of seeing those plays live. But my goodness, those plays are immortalized, and that feeling is immortalized just a little bit every single time you watch it again. I just watched the David Tyree catch just the other day when I was prepping for today's shows, and you're just so thankful that you got to experience something like that because I don't really know if in my lifetime we'll ever see another game with those kind of implications, with that kind of underdog David versus Goliath story. It was incredible. I'll never forget it. But until we get here to talk about Super Bowl 50, the results, the previews, the predictions, I will be back. Jersey Joe Archino here with the Sports Vault. Follow me on Twitter at Joe Archino, on Instagram, Jersey_Joe_Archino, and I'll be back next time.